After going on the show Swamp People, he got in trouble with the law. Andrew got 2 tickets for failing to tag in the alligator. We dig deeper into the secret story of how the Landry family dealt with tragedy, loss, and determination that Troy has taken when things got tough as an alligator hunter for 3 generations. It wasn't always that Troy Landry was a TV star. Troy grew up in the swamps of Peary Part, Louisiana, and comes from a long line of hunters. For him, hunting alligators was always more than a job. An old tradition that has been kept alive for a long time. Troy's professional fisherman father, Duffy Landry, taught him how to work with and care for the earth. People who watched the History Channel show Swamp People in 2010 were captivated by Troy's bravery, skill, and now iconic saying, "Shoot 'em." He was loved right away and was named the King of the Swamp because he knew so much about the area and was brave. Traditions, family, and a strong connection to the country Troy loves have always been the driving forces behind his success. Residents of the Atchafalaya River area have been fascinated by Troy Landry's famous hunts for more than 14 years. That he is so good at finding and catching the biggest alligators in the world has made him famous in Louisiana and all over the world. The food that his family got from the swamp turned into a multi-million-dollar business as a way to stay alive. The turning point came when Troy formed a strong connection with his family history. The place where Troy was born in Peary Part, Louisiana, is where the 5th generation of his family began hunting alligators. Troy's life was gator hunting. It wasn't just his job. He says that it was in his genes, so he was never given a choice. For catching crocodiles, Troy was miles ahead of everyone else because he knew so much about the swamp and could see into the future so accurately. "I'm ready? Allow me to count to 3. It is a good idea to try to get on the boat." People might have thought Troy Landry became popular quickly, but he was actually born into a family that put a lot of value on tradition, hard work, and being proud of your country. Troy learned a lot from the swamp when he was a child growing up in the marshes of Peary Part, Louisiana. For 5 generations, men in the Landry family had eaten alligators that lived in the swamp and were very dangerous. This was a very important part of their past and culture. Troy's dad, Duffy Landry, taught him how to do things when an infant. People from the swamp didn't just show up by chance. It was due to hard work, years of custom, and what they learned from running the family business. Producers at the History Channel weren't just looking for real alligator shooters when they put out their calls. Someone whose life rested on the water and was connected to it in every way was needed. The good news is that Troy and his family were there to help. They were a good match because they were known to be skilled shooters who cared about keeping the alligator population stable. It was all about the Landry family when the show first came out in 2010. Troy was the show's most popular actor. People across the country listened to his catchphrase, "Shoot 'em," as they watched to feel the thrill and difficulty of the hunt. Although Troy's remembered lines and dangerous meetings with huge alligators were interesting, what really moved viewers was how sincere he seemed on show. As opposed to some artists, he was really living the part. It was dirty on his boots, but he loved the country and was a real alligator shooter. The show showed how exciting it was to catch big alligators, but it also showed the more complicated parts of the job, which Troy was proud of. Getting the creatures was just the start of what he could do. He knew about their habits, where they lived, and how the ecosystem worked. This knowledge, along with Troy's seafood delivery business, which he ran in addition to hunting, showed how flexible he was and how well he understood the swamp economy. Troy never forgot how humble he was, even when he had a lot of fame and chances. The swamp wasn't just a place for a TV show. It became his home. The Landry family's unwavering devotion to each other and the ship was clear throughout the series as they faced the dangerous seas of the Atchafalaya Basin, both as hunters and as people who took care of the land. When Troy wasn't watching TV, the glitz and glam of TV had no place in his life. He stuck to his roots by working the shrimp lines in the crawfish ponds that his family owned. Throughout the many seasons of Swamp People, Troy's core values have stayed mostly the same. Work hard, take care of your family, and respect the water. It's no wonder that he hit a nerve with the crowd. It wasn't all that he was a TV star. The Bayou people saw him as strong, proud of their history, and determined. But fans noticed that Troy showed up less and less as the seasons went on. It became clear to many that the Swamp King might no longer be hunting. In truth, things were much more complicated and sad. Throughout everything, Troy was always there for his family, but he also overcame many personal problems that had an effect on his health and soul behind the scenes. Troy was a role model because he kept going even when things got hardest. The Landry name is still linked to alligator hunting, even though he isn't as busy as he used to be. This is because of his kids, Jacob and Chase. The Landry story will always be a reminder of how important tradition is and how family is everything. Not giving up on your dreams, no matter what problems you may face. As part of the hiring process for a show about the Louisiana Bias, producers looked for real alligator hunters like Troy Landry to bring the culture of the area to life. State wildlife officials had a lot of good things to say about the Landry family. They said how well they hunted and how hard they worked to follow all the rules. A lot of fans probably didn't know this, but Troy and his family were out hunting alligators before the show even started. It was more than just a job for them. A long time ago, people used to do it every year. Having cameras follow Troy around made him nervous at first. He was worried about having private times with his family shown live. The country was still trying to get back on its feet after the recession, but Troy saw the chance that the performance gave him as a lucky turn of events. During those tough economic times, the production's money helped the Landry family keep their business going. Because of this lifeline, they were able to keep making money and start new businesses, such as advertising deals and successful partnerships. More people who listened to Swamp People made Troy's voice heard. He also started his own fishing business called Crankin' Crabs, which makes an amazing 6 million pounds of crab every year. He also worked with Savage Arms on the Landry signature rifle. Besides that, he began to think about other projects. Even though he is famous, Troy keeps his feet on the ground and often says that his success is due to the strong work ethic his family taught him. Despite his newfound fame and wealth, Troy has stayed true to his roots, which is something that many people respect. He still relies on fishing and selling alligators to make money, which shows that he hasn't given up the habits that made him who he is. Troy is famous for being a skilled alligator hunter, but he has also tried his hand at other businesses. For example, he worked with Savage Arms to create the Landry signature rifle. Because of what he did, he is worth about $2 million, mainly because of his part in Swamp Dwellers. Even though he's famous, he keeps a humble attitude by saying that his success comes from the knowledge his ancestors passed down through the swamp. Along with his successful hunting business, Troy also has other successful business ventures, such as Cranking Crabs, which earns him 6 million pounds a year. By making other sources of income, Troy has been able to protect himself from the uncertainty of the alligator hunting seasons. His business has also helped him build ties with national and local companies that see his unique way of life as a way to reach a certain group of people who are looking for adventure and outdoor tools. There are many ways that Troy Landry makes his money, which is said to be more than $2 million. He has a strong network thanks to many relationships and product ads, but his main source of income is still his alligator hunting business. Beyond the money he gets from hunting, Troy has also made a lot of money from his role on Swamp People. This has led to successful partnerships with companies that make goods related to wildlife and the outdoors, such as selling merchandise and promoting brands. He became rich by being smart about business and combining old-fashioned hunting methods with new-age marketing techniques. Troy has had problems along the way, despite what he has done. Alligator hunting costs went up after the recession, so Troy had to make a choice. He readily admits that the financial help from the Swamp People film crew would have made it harder for his family's business to stay open. His story shows what it means to keep going. What seemed like a loss at first was actually a chance to grow in a big way. The show kept his family from going bankrupt and let them follow their interest, which he has talked a lot about. People who like Troy's simple, family-centered life and how well he hunts alligators have grown over the years. People who like Swamp People like him because he is honest, being polite and having a strong connection with his family and friends. Even though Troy has been on TV less often lately, he is still a well-known figure with millions of fans who watch his work and personal life. On reality TV stands out because he works hard and knows how to balance fame and family. Troy stands out from other shooters because he only hunts in an ethical way. He is very set in his ways when it comes to rules. This includes the 30-day cap on shooting, which is in place to keep the number of alligators stable and protect the swamp environment. He believes that protection is more than just doing the right thing. It's also about taking care of the earth and the animals that live there. Troy has used his fame to make a difference by speaking out for animal rights and moral shooting. He was admired by both environmentalists and hunters for this. For Troy Landry, the moment that changed his career was when he caught 82 alligators in one day, which had never been done before. It was a first for Troy, who usually catches 40 to 45 alligators on a good day, to catch twice as many. He showed what he could do right now, and a way to talk about how exciting and scary it is to live in a swamp. Even so, there are risks that come with doing such amazing things. Troy is used to the risks that come with his job. He didn't even think twice about the small cut he got from a gator's claws. These pictures show how dangerous and successful it can be to hunt alligators. The people who liked him were impressed and worried about his safety. An elder from the Arden. Families have been important to Troy ever since he married Benita in 1981. Troy's stepson is Brandon Landry, and he treats him like a son in every way. Together they have two real sons, Chase and Jacob. Benita, his high school teacher and gospel singing partner, is someone he loves and respects. They are very close because they share many hobbies. A girl who is successful in her own right. Benita has been nominated for a Grammy and won many awards over the course of her work. Families and homes that they have built together are based on hard work, tradition, and love. They finally got their dream house after years of living in a caravan. They use cypress wood to build their new house because they love being outside. It's not just a house, it shows how determined and committed the family is. Since the house has two kitchens, Benita and Troy can both cook the way they love without constantly having to fight with each other. Oh, the Landry's home will be the center of family events and long-standing family traditions because it has enough space for all of their family and friends, including their 3 boys. Still, Swamp People's victory has not been without sadness. Troy has been missing in past seasons, which has led his fans to wonder what happened and feel worried. The situation wasn't nearly as bad as people thought it was. At that time, Troy had prostate cancer. The bad news about his diagnosis was heartbreaking, but Troy, always ready to fight, went right to work on the problem. The surgery was successful in getting rid of the cancer, and he has been fighting for his health ever since with the help of his friends, family, and fans. Troy Landry's son Jacob took to social media to stop rumors that the king of the swamp had died and let his fans know that his father was still alive and well. Many friends talked about their own experiences with cancer and offered words of support, which led to a huge overflow of help. Troy hunted alligators season after season, but the tragedy he went through was always on his mind. Despite this, Troy is used to beating tough situations. His children, like Jacob and Chase, have kept up their hard work in the swamps. I still feel the pain of loss every time I hunt. Troy has lived in the swamp his whole life. His family and bloodline have given him strength, even though he has been hurt by love. This tragedy will have a huge effect on the Landry family. Troy has been very hard on my emotions, even though I keep seeing swamp people and hunting gators. Troy, the hunter who used to be carefree and smart, has slowly changed how he acts, and many people have noticed. His best qualities now are his shooting skills and his ability to keep going even after terrible things happen to him. The love of his family and the memories of those he has lost keep him going. Despite everything, Troy's determination is truly impressive. With his kids Chase and Jacob always behind him, Troy moves forward, ready to carry on the family tradition. They are carrying on the work of a family that has come to represent the swamp and help keep the number of alligators in the Louisiana River area in check. Troy cares about his family more than anything else. Cute. With the help of his loved ones, he is finding ways to go on even though he is sad and unsure. Every day in the marsh is about staying alive and honoring the family tradition he has worked so hard to keep alive. Troy Landry has never given up, even when life threw him a 12-foot alligator or a surprise. He changed the lives of swamp people in more ways than just catching gators. That's proof that family, nature, and toughness can get through anything. And Troy will lead without fear as long as his family is with him and the swamp has snakes. Appreciate your time. If Troy's story inspired you, please like and follow to hear more about the amazing lives of people who have to deal with nature's biggest challenges every day. The spreading of death stories about Troy was a turning point in the history of the swamp people. The swamp people. His fans were worried even though the rumors weren't true, not sure what will happen. It took a lot of back and forth before the Landry family finally said that Troy did have prostate cancer and was reacting well to treatment. Many of his fans talked about their own battles with prostate cancer and offered words of support. The help he got was amazing. Fans were interested in how Troy's health scare would change his part on the show while he recovered. His job might have changed, or he might be able to go hunting. Thank goodness Troy got better so he could go back to the swamp. His loyal friends were glad. Too much pain has been felt by the swamp people family. Mitchell, Tyler, Bruce, Randy Edwards, and the Swamp Dog were all much-loved cast members, and the whole team and fan group is very sad about their departures. Each death has been sad because of how important the person was to the show and how they fit into the bigger swamp people family. Despite everything that has happened, Troy Landry has been an example. It shows how strong he is mentally and emotionally as well as physically, that he can get back up after a defeat. His life story is driven by family, custom, and society. As Swamp People moves into its 15th season, many fans are excited to see what the future holds. Viewers have increased because Troy is making progress in beating cancer, his family's business is changing, and a new show starring Jacob and Troy called Swamp People has started airing. People are captivated by how the Landry family members interact with each other, how hard they work, and the problems they encounter in the swamp. Even if this is the last season, Troy will always be known as the Swamp King, and his influence on people who hunt alligators will last for years.